Woo! Don't know how long I'm gonna be up on here, but people come, they come. If they don't, they don't. That's the attitude you gotta have some days. How y'all doing? Hopefully very well. Man, oh man, oh man. Who can we get on tonight? Hmm. I've been noticing some really interesting conversations. We already talked about the homicide in Mexico. It's actually been a while since I did a live stream, fully fetched out. I think it's actually funny that I spoke to a good friend of mine, my boy, my former roommate at Morgan Upper Bound in the summer times, back in the high school days. And he's married, and he had an interesting look on things. And he noticed a lot of the same things I've noticed. Hey, what's up, Philip? And it's like, you look at these relationships, and it's like you're at a gamble. Thank God he's been married for some years, and he has a great wife. And I had to remind him, I said, you know what's crazy? Not every guy can say that. Yes, you have some guys who are simps. Yes, you have some guys who are derelict in their masculinity. But at the same time, you have such a rebellious spirit, a very rebellious spirit when it comes to male leadership. See, even my homeboys who don't necessarily agree with me understand what I say. It may not be your situation, but if you look outside your door, you turn on social media and you see it. You see a bunch of people, especially when it comes to the women, who knock average everyday brothers who say they need a guy who makes six figures and all this other crap. But then when they can't get the men they desire or lust after, they get bitter and take out their frustrations on all other men or the male species in totality. Oh yeah, salute to Alan Roger Carey, man. One of the greatest books that I read and also have on Audible is Mode One, man. I mean, shoot, Mode One is really the guide of how men should carry themselves, man. You should just say what you want, put it out there in front. If she takes it, cool. If she doesn't, cool. I think a lot of men are just, because I hate to say it, we have the pussification of men. A lot of men are scared of rejection, almost as much as women. Almost as much as women. And when you actually have a mobile one lifestyle, you cut out a lot of the bullshit. Cut out a lot of bullshit. Salute to the Ellen Roger Carey, man. I think that should be a must read for teenage boys. That should definitely be a read for teenage boys because a lot of boys are not taught to be leaders. They're taught to be subservient, and that destroys the confidence in a young man. All of his books, yeah, no one. Put it to you this way: you can't read. You can read all of his books, but all of his books in totality, you have to do mode one first. You have to do mode one. When you read mode one, the rest of them become easy. Mode one. Whoa! Gotta do it for Alan, man. Gotta do it for Alan. But it's funny, and shout out to my boy Ali and his fiance because, he found a woman that he actually doesn't just love, he found a woman that he likes. They go out a lot, they spend time with each other, they make time for each other. They've been through the trials and tribulations. See, I don't want a relationship when everything's all fucking good. Give me something when we're not even liking or something's bad. Are we gonna hold each other down? And they have done that. And one of our conversations, even though we crack on each other the most out of all of our friends, all of the brothers, as we say, when we have our philosophical conversations, those are the most enlightening, I do have to admit. And when we have our group chat, because we have a Facebook chat with all our brothers or people we induct into brotherhood. See, this is the reason. It's no different than some of you with a fraternity. And we have conversations about modern relationships, and they're very funny because he even said there's a lot of women where he works where they'll give their car to their man, and the man is not working, or he's a local rapper, or he's doing some crazy shit. And he said, he had to make life choices because he has children and he has a lady at home. When he was having kids and stuff, of course, I know as a father, there's certain things you cannot do anymore, or there's certain things you have to do. And when you respect and appreciate your relationship, there's things that you have to be the maintainer and also the person who elevates it. And he noticed, like, there's a lot of women out there who do not appreciate normal everyday men. Are there some men who complain and never been in the rat race? Yeah, of course. I'm the first person to tell you that. That's why it was funny about the hammer situation. Look, dude, you are a student at Howard in DC. Dr. T.S.on Johnson looked it up. Howard is 72% females, 28% men. You got a 5-to-1 ratio, maybe 6-to-1 to find a woman. Like, you literally, what's up, Trinity? You literally have the pick of the litter. You can't say, I remember talking directly to him. You can't say, well, also falter how you look. Well, guess what? I can't dance, and I don't have the smoothest voice in the world unless you hear me waking up. So you have to actually be something. You have to reinvent yourself. See, somebody needs to write this in the chat. Women are human beings. Men are human doings. Men, we have to earn our value, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And see, when you earn your way to something, it's very hard to take away that value. See, when women are born with value because they can have children, they're pretty, blah, 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 everybody's chasing them. But when a woman turns 30, 35, the men don't chase them as much. And that's where a lot of women get upset. Exactly. Can't dance, can't sing. Only thing about me is the way that and fundamentally, when you look at both sides of the coin, like, guys like Hammer and then the women with the unrealistic expectations, they're two sides of the same coin. Well, these women here, guess what? The only reason you're a virgin is because you want to be. And that's if you call yourself. And that's if you really are. And I'm not knocking if you are. If that's your decision. Hey, God bless you. But at the same time, don't tell me that you can't find a woman and you're grossly outnumbered by the women unless you're like disfigured. Even disfigured dudes get laid. And see, a lot of guys out there believe a lot of the bullshit their mother sells them. I don't do that. I don't do that. And it's funny that you say that, um, bit of truth. Every guy has a chick that'll fuck him. He just shoots beyond his skis. Yeah, I mean, see, this is the reason why men need to actually speak to women early in life. Not super early, but at least engage them. Because there's a lot of men who will go through the battle of Iraq but are scared shitless to talk to women. And when a man can overcome the rejection and maybe even the humiliation once or twice of a woman, he can get through any damn thing. And this is what happened when I call it the pussification of America. These are the men that you want so badly to become like you. And then you realize when they become more in tune to their emotions, more feminine like, you're not attracted to the shit. But then you overcompensate being with the Chads, Tyrones, and the Enriques who are a little bit handsy, who are a little bit, snobbish, who cheat on you. You're attracted to their masculinity, but they overplay it and they overcompensate for it. Don't forget to hit the cash app, please. And what fundamentally is a flaw is that modern women don't are not attracted or they don't pick good men. Likewise, I am not going to say every woman's bad. There are some good women out there. Well, I will say to you, it's a fucking needle in a haystack. Yes. I am the first person to tell you that. You don't have wives out here anymore. You don't. Think about it. Most of the women in the world today are robbed of their husbands because of their mother's lack of training. And even Kevin Samuel said it once. A lot of women have met their husbands but blew it because they always think they could shoot better. And ultimately, you're going to be left to your own devices. Ultimately, you're going to be called out on your bluff. And let's not be coy that the world isn't getting colder and colder and colder. It's looking like the frost giants, land. And I'm not just saying it because winter is upon us. I'm saying it because a lot of women out there are suffering. There's a lot of women out there with college degrees who barely can feed themselves. There's a lot of women out there with college degrees who can't protect themselves. They're making money, but they're indebted to the damn mob. There's a lot of dudes out there who never took the time to get a mentor, a father figure, or have bad relationships with their fathers and can't deal with the world as a man should. But people will say that I'm crazy. People will look at me like I don't make sense. And I'm just here to warn people. Believe it or not, when I'm in my most benevolent way, I don't take pleasure in seeing people in pain. Unless you wrong me in such a way that it needs to be carried out. But 90% of the time, it doesn't need to be that way. What's shameful is that you have a lot of people who don't live in reality anymore. A lot of people who don't plan anymore. You can have the greatest career you want. You can do the best stuff that you can. But when reality starts to dictate to you, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. There are some things in my life I had to bow down to the superior knowledge. I had to bow down to the reality. I can't go back to being Mr. Naive and let the reality of the situation and decision that I make crush me. I've said this before: problem, promise, provision. How you look at your problem determines how long you stay in your problem and what happens afterwards. You would think by now, if men are saying, look, we want you to have a better fit body, a better attitude towards us and life, and to be inspirational, that will be more than enough. But because of this pride, because of this hubris, who gonna check me, boo? And unfortunately, it's life. I can't tell you how many times in the police department you see a whole rack of unmarried women working all this overtime so they could go to Dubai, they can go to Europe on a cruise and all this other shit. They can do all this fancy shit, but the one thing that's lacking is, how do I get a man? How do I keep a man? I'm a 40-year-old man. And I look at guys like Hammer and I'll be like, dude, you don't even know the world that's set before you. Travel. Well, these women out here, they just want a certain guy. So, you think I haven't heard that before? Oh, I would normally not date you, but you're in my bed naked. So does it really matter what she says? Or does it matter what she does? But back to this can't get nor keep one. It goes back into what I said to my friend, and I told her women never really had to learn men. They really didn't. Especially modern women. They don't cater. 95% don't. Maybe 99% don't. They want to run something because they're insecure. If they get a man that can actually run a fucking family, run a business, run a career, an occupation, that woman is going to be intimidated that other women are going to want him, that she can't overpower or manipulate him. And that's how men should be. Ultimately, you should always keep your female on her toes. There should be new things about you that she's always finding out every week. I didn't know you could play the piano. You never asked. Why do you think the tall, dark, and handsome thing still to this day exists? Dark doesn't always mean your skin complexion. It also means mysteriousness. A woman is always the most curious creature this side of a feline nature. But yet, so many men are being told that, yeah, I'm going to tell her everything. I'm going to pillow talk. And then you wonder why she's bored of you. Your wife should not always be your best friend. There are some things you don't need to tell your wife. And I'm not saying, well, how you run your marriage is your thing. But guess what? Pillow talking ruins a lot of relationships and a lot of friendships. I'm just going to say that. There should be something mysterious about you. Just a little bit. You should be in good enough shape and charisma that other women find you attractive. There should be an inkling to make you think, oh, don't think that bras ain't looking at me. But you know what fails? You know what fails a lot of relationships? Is when that guy gives total power over to that woman. He doesn't hold down his spot. And that's where the fuck ups usually go. You don't appreciate the woman who held you down, and you don't give her something that she can look up to. But at the same time, we have to look back at the subject matter. Are you finding men that you can look up to or men that you can control? Modern women don't like to find men they can look up to because now they get intimidated. They want the men that they can control and say, if you don't do what I say, I'm going to divorce you, I'm going to take you to child support, or I'm going to call the police on you. But tell me if I'm lying or not, please. Please, we got 16 people. Let me know you're in the chat. But yet, time and time again, it gets proven. A lot of people want to put a band-aid over a gunshot wound instead of actually going into that wound and trying to heal the damage. Trying to at least stop the bleeding and cauterize the wound, sew them back up, make sure there's no too much internal damage. But no. We got a bunch of people out there who want to go against the grain. I want a relationship with the neighborhood hoe. I want a relationship with the neighborhood drug dealer. And I'm starting to think that human beings are getting dumber as years, decades go by. really believe in that shit. Because there's no way in hell we could be falling for the same shit decade out of decade, generation out of generation. It's hilarious, man. There's a reason why you have passport bros in the first place. It's because brothers are sick and tired of what's over in the States. And then to combat passport bros, you had chicks talk about they're going to be what? What did they call them? The submissive women or some shit like that. What did they call them back in the day? A few months ago? It didn't even last 2 months. Because as soon as you talk, I like to be in my feminine, and then you started talking, well, this is what I won't want to do, because it's hard to go against your programming. I mean, freaking BGS put up a video where these mixed chicks are trying to shit on brothers who date white women, but yet they see nothing wrong with black women dating white men. See the hypocrisy? You see why men are opting out? It's stupid. And it is hard. It's hard. Once you get that red pill lens, it's hard to even look at people as genuine anymore. It really is. I'm going to admit that. I'm going to be the first content creator to admit this shit. It is hard. It is fucking hard. It is very hard. Hold on for a second. I'm back, folks. What's up, Snowman? I couldn't see my whole chat. But the truth said men don't like me because I'm a manufactured bitch. What's up, Trell? Now I can see everybody's comments. It's about social power. Black women see white dating as a flex. See, here's the funny thing about that, bae. Black men don't give a fuck. As a matter of fact, I had a chick who tried to talk about swirling and divesting, and I told her black ass, look, we will help your ass pack. We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck. We just want to be, we're like David Banner back in the live action Incredible Hulk series. We just want to look for a cure, and if we can't, leave us the fuck alone. They said as a status symbol, as a coronation of power, this is why they get mad, jealous, envy, ego, and greed. You know, and that's basically what it is. That's basically what it is, man. What's up, free will? And black men are not allowed to be happy. And I'm glad that you're getting stronger, Snowman. Why can't black men be happy? I'm not a person who interracially dates, but I don't knock brothers who do. Find what makes you happy. Find them. I've said this to brothers all the time. You don't owe the hood shit, and the shit hood doesn't owe you shit either. And that's the problem. Free Will Defender said, in the good words of BGS, they are not our women, so it doesn't matter. Honestly, they never believed that they were part of us anyway. It's true. And yes, no man, we know. I mean, hey, you went out there and found you, and what makes you happy, and who stuck by you. My whole thing is this: if black women in America really believed in the black family structure, then adjustments would have been made. You'd have sucked up your damn pride and got with a man who would have took care of you. You would have invested money in your boys, just like investing the money into your daughters. If you got black girl magic, why isn't there a black boy superpowers? And here's the excuse. Why can't the men do it? It's usually the men who picks up those young brothers up. Now, are there some good mothers out there? Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, but we don't make a rule to the exception. Here's the crazy part. You put your son in environments where he's around people of other races, and then you wonder why he gets attracted to them. When you socialize someone with them, guess what? They're going to be around them. They're going to want to be more around them. They're going to learn to love them, learn to be attracted to them. It's like modern warfare. We're no longer Mexican special forces. We're no longer 141. We're Team Ghost. Free Will Defender said, I got my Jamaican wife. I'm good. She helped me teach my son to read, write, etc. Brothers, there are more black women outside the U.S. than in it. We got the seed. We win the long race. It's facts. Snowman said, Dr. K has been by my side since I met her in July 2018. The sad part is I believed in black love because of my parents, and it never happened in full to me. And sometimes, man, that's how it is. That's how it is. Have you noticed that black men believe in black love than the women? That's the funny part. That's the funny part. The American womb is poisonous. That may be true. That may be true. I mean, just a matter of respect. Just a matter of respect can change a relationship dramatically, whether the abundance of it or the lack of thereof. Who wants to be in a relationship where she loves you but she doesn't respect you? I mean, really, men want respect before love. But it goes back into what I said earlier about women never took the time to understand men. A lot of these women are taught to try to run a man, oh, I'm going to run this guy into the hole. Should you lie to a woman to keep her? No. See, the problem is this: a lot of men have actually lived and died by that philosophy. And I said, look, tell her the truth. You'll come out better for it. That's why we talked about salute to Alan Roger Carey. Everybody, mode one. If I gotta lie to you, if I gotta lie to you to make you happy, no. They can't handle the truth, but eventually the truth is gonna come out. Okay? It's no different than them chicks going up there and Kevin Samuels or whoever's page or channel, whatever, BGS's, or anybody who has women on their chat. And a woman tells you that she's a 10. And I'm like, did you get 10 results in life? How you a 10 and you're single? It's like a coworker of mine who's a sergeant, and she talks about being picky. How the fuck can you be picky and you're in a profession where there's only what, 12% of women, 88% of men, and you're picky? What's up, Anderson? How can you afford to be picky? I mean, that's delusional. That's like trying to keep a image up. Oh, I'm just being picky. No bullshit. You're just socially awkward to get a man. You're so used to being by yourself, you can't take the time out to say, why aren't men attracted to me? Beastly nerd. What's up? And fundamentally, it's a flaw. It's a dangerous flaw. Remember what your grandmothers and great grandmothers used to say? The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. Bingo, bango, buttafuoco. Picky equals can't lock down the man they really want. And some of them are, and a lot of times, women are socially awkward. They are very awkward again around men, even the pretty ones. Like, think about it. Pussy is like drugs. You can't really brag about selling drugs because drugs sell itself. Hey, do you have insert drug here for my consumption? Yes, I do. Exchange currency for drug. Bada bing, bada boom. Same thing with pussy. You got pussy. Hey, you're a female. You look like you got good pussy, or at least decent pussy. Yeah. Exchange for dating, money, whatever. Insert currency, time, effort here. I mean, think about that. It doesn't take much for you to get a man to sleep with you. It's just that, hey, pussy sells itself. I know. I make the simplest. Do y'all like how I make the simplest things in life? I make the most complex shit in life actually simplistic and also humorous. You gotta love that. Um. So for the longest time, when they know or started to discover that their pussy had some value in the scheme of things, that means they didn't have to learn men because men were coming to them hand over fist. Now, what we have is a bunch of women who, once they get around men, especially the men they want, the men of value and substance, they can't compete. They can't compete. I swear to God, man, one day I'm going to come out with a book. And if I can't find the time to write the book, I'll probably come out with some Patreon. Anybody want to be, anybody think I should get a Patreon? Would y'all be interested in some of my Patreon shit when I could actually go into the nitty gritty of fucking shit? I mean, I want you to think about this, right? And don't forget to hit the Cash App, please. Cash App. Them cigars don't have to. Them cigars and cognacs don't buy themselves now. Come on, people. But I want you to really think about this. You got pussy, something that all men, even the ones who say they don't like pussy anymore, still go for. And you can't lock a guy down at the height of your beauty, your fertility, your chastity for some of you, very few of you. That 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 is a little low. That is a little low. And don't forget to support the snowman as well. You look great with that commentating, man. You keep on doing your shit. Talk your shit, snowman. Talk your shit. But juxtapose that to men. And this is why I want you to put this in the chat. Women are human beings, men are human doings. Women get their value just for being born, having the capability of bearing life. Okay, men get their value because they got to earn it. So, guess who gets to keep their value longer? Hmm. Hey, just send me the link and I'll put it in my community tab and we'll get you some. We'll get you some people to look at you. See, I've had this question for over a decade, maybe a decade and a half, nearly 20 years of military and law enforcement service. Well, if you count my law enforcement and military service, it'd be like, whew, that's over 2 decades. And I've seen really beautiful women who've been single and perplexed for a perplexual eternity. And it's like, why aren't you married? You look nice. You have a great personality. I'm just picky. No, you're awkward. I've actually made deals with some of my female coworkers and said, look, I could get you married in probably 1 year, two at the most. And they're like, how? If you listen to me, a man, and not your single ass female friends, I promise you. I said, if I put you up there in a nice dress and some nice little heels and teach you, sit you down and teach you how to play Madden, how to look at sports, how to actually talk about interesting shit that's interesting to men, no man is going to give you up because he knows how rare you are. What's up? Not a bit more. And do you know how many women actually took me up on that challenge? I want y'all to guess the number. Guess the number. If they're not cat ladies, they definitely got little fucking Shih Tzus. I think the Shih Tzu is the official dog of the lonely. I want everybody to guess the number of the people who took me up on that challenge. Zero. God damn it. Zero. because of that pride, that ego, that undeserved, I think that I deserve the best. See, I got to correct you for right there. As black men, we don't believe, we know. We either know, we think, or we do. We know most black women are just uncooperative and uncompetitive. They really are. They think because they got a pussy, they win. But guess what else happens? They forgot two things that play in the favor of black men. Like a fine wine, we get better with age. And then two, there's more black women in Brazil than in the United States. It's the blackest country in the world outside of Africa. You have 500 million black women on the continent of Africa and growing. All a black man has to do is look left, look right, look front, look back, buy a plane ticket, and he's going to be treated like a god. And a lot of these dudes can work off a computer. All they need is a good landline and transfer their currency into the local currency. Yes, please hit the Cash App. Salute to Art. Support your male content creators, baby. And this is nothing that I say in small jest. We got a couple of Cash Apps. Let me salute the people. Salute the blessings. Gotta wait till this Wi-Fi kicks in. The other phone. So why, when the passport bros go to Brazil, they say they hate black women? They don't. See, this is the rumors that people come up out of their ass. Okay? 85% of black men, probably 87, are still in relationships and married to black women. So it's the fact of the matter that we love the phenotype, we hate the attitude. But once again, from a militaristic standpoint, women are bad strategists. Women are just horrible strategists, man. And what happened ultimately is this: you have a bunch of people who don't want to play ball the righteous way. They don't want to play ball. And what happens to people? Shout out to Arta Whitmore and Harold George for the Cash App support. Thank you, brothers. But you got to think about this, man. These are fundamental flaws that women 100 years ago mastered. Women 100 years ago. Oh, yeah, the toy terrier or the shih tzu. Yeah, that's the official dog of the lonely woman. And I say this because there's so much that women can do in our community and they can remain undefeated. Do you know how many women who are black all across this country who are personal trainers and fitness models and all this shit? Do you think they have trouble getting men? No. Why do men love fit women? You know why? Because their disposition is usually a hell of a lot friendlier. They look great. Simply lazy, they rather get a BBL than hit the gym. Of course. They look like the bubble boy in their ass. But then we also got to be careful because the simp ruins everything. Well, and it's funny because Mary Brown is still my Facebook friend. I let him live because he's the gift that keeps on giving. And so many people who are my Facebook friends, who are my subscribers, love it when I embarrass them. Like, for example, he tried to say, well, if none of these guys, screw these women, then we wouldn't have to worry about these children. I said that would make sense if women didn't ovulate, meaning there are only certain segments of time where she can actually get impregnated. So if she can take 33 different contraceptives, including Plan B, and we're not even talking about abortion, she decides if the baby is born or not. But see, that's what happens when you become too stupid to be dumb, or too dumb to be stupid, to be exact. And when you make this alleviation an excuse for their ill-gotten ways, you're just as bad as the fucking situation, people. You're just as bad. You wonder why the women don't respect you. It's because you don't stand for shit. I've said it. I've said it. The women don't respect you because you don't stand for shit. You're not going to stand on your square when she tries to run a fucking unholy jihad and you say, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out. Or you're going to sit your ass here and act like you got some goddamn sense. What do you think she's going to respect? Well, you're not going to get any pussy. Maybe not from you, but I know there's others who are very willing. Very willing. I surmise that if they put us on a conditional love basis, we should do the same. I think that will be a sense of brilliance, don't you? Don't give out your resources, your strength, your protection for free. Are you a fool? For much is given, much is earned. And I'm sorry. There's a reason why in all the Abrahamic religions they have their own way of saying God is great. The Muslims say Allah Akbar. It's because you know why? In the discussion with my boy Eric, we talked about, biblical scriptures and how those scriptures actually talk about the nature of women and men. And you know what? I need to reread some of the Torah and I need to reread some of the Quran just to do, justice to my Hebrew and Muslim brothers and sisters. because a lot of that knowledge has been lost on these generations that are coming now and after us. Even the Bible says it is better for a man to sleep on the roof of a house than to deal with an unsanctified woman, uncouth woman. Mm. People forget how red pill that Bible is, man. And oh yeah, by the way, have you ever noticed how spiritual and religious women are when they extra single? But if they actually believed in all the scriptures and all the theological studies, they would have got a man years ago, and some of you decades ago. But y'all don't hear me though. Y'all don't hear me though. I had a coworker years ago tell me about the Bible. I said, you don't want to go toe to toe with me when it comes to religious studies because I'll make you check yours. I'll make you reconsider yours. If you really believe that this is the word of God and everything in it you're supposed to obey, then why are there so many women who got such a big mouth and voice in the church when you're supposed to be silent? Where is the love that you're supposed to respect that you're supposed to have for your men? See, you can't pick and choose from your holy text. But y'all don't hear me though. Lord Juno said, saw that Korean chick trying to throw shade on the passport bros. Turn out she's another one for the streets. Go figure. For them not to, for well, excuse me, for them to not care about what we do, they sure enough have a lot to say where we go. That's because they think that you're a dog on a leash. What happens when that dog is on the leash and that gate is open? He's gonna try like hell to run. But one day, when that post is not strong enough and he's beelining it, I'm gonna tell you, my cat, once in a while, my cat wants freedom. As soon as I open up the door, he wants to jet out the house. He knows where home is, but he wants that freedom. And sometimes when they get that freedom, they appreciate what they have at home. But here's the catch: when those black men run for their freedom, they look back and say, I never had a home in the first place. Mm. Mm. A lot of those black American men never had a home in the first place. Okay. Shout out to LAPD SWAT. One. Whoo! Big ups, Commander. The problem is that there is no deity that has been molded after the black man. Islam has the Arab male, Buddha has the Asian male. Well, when we go back to African spirituality, Shango was the god of thunder. We just turned him white in the Thor when we went further up north into Scandinavia. All your gods were black. Even the Pope still prays to a black Madonna. And here's the crazy part. We allow people to dictate God to us instead of talking to the Almighty, no matter what name you call him, to you. And see, that's the same thing what black men are going through in the community. We're allowing everybody to dictate what we like, what we love, how to be great. What is a man? What should a man do? Where should a man go? 50 years ago, we were traveling men. 100 years ago, we went westward. 1,000 years ago, it was not uncommon for a man to leave his village to go find a wife elsewhere and start anew. It's just history repeating itself, man. If you saw the music video called Dance Now, there was an Asian chick sitting on that redneck's lap spitting tobacco while he was shooting beating black men. We know what type time she's on. Of course. Everybody wants to try to dominate and control the black man. Everybody. Everybody wants to be on some shit when it comes to us. But yet, when we start making a declaration of independence of black men, that we're gone from the plantation. We rebuke the community. We establish our identity, our way, for us, by us. That's when everybody has a problem. See, when white men get righteous anger, we call them mavericks. When black men get righteous anger, we call them threats. Man, somebody need to put that shit in the chat. Write down that shit for time and memorial. See, the black man is the only man left who really values family. And our women are not catching on to how valuable of a man they truly have. It reminds me of that video, and I got to ask BGS if he could send me that video where he had the picture of the man who was chained to the tree and the black woman who was chained in a lake. She reached his arm out to him, and he reached his arm out to her. But you know what was very significant about that? She could have gave the key to that black man to free himself from that tree, and he could have freed her with the weight on her leg out of that lake. But you know what she did? She kept the goddamn key in the lake. She kept the goddamn key in the lake. That is the ultimate visual representation and photorealistic painting of the relationship of the black man and black woman in America. You could give us the keys to free us to rescue you, but you refuse to do it. Why? Because you want to be in control. You can't have any faith in a black man. And the black man says, fuck your faith. Fuck your love. Fuck your so called bullshit dedication. Fuck all that. Fuck all that. And this is not coming out of anger. This is coming out of realization. Fuck all that. There you go, Art of It More. They threw away the key. But then these are the same people who say, why don't you build? You didn't give us the keys to build. It's like I said before, men give women purpose, women give men inspiration. If you don't inspire us to rescue you, if you don't inspire us to build, why should we? They're the only creatures that want a finished product. They're the only creatures that want a finished product. Shout out to LAP SWAT again. If you had been a ruler or a king in the Western Africa in the 1418 and the Euro agents showed up in the ships, how would you have handled first contact from a power dynamic view? Mm, One, you keep your friends close and your enemies closer. In the words of Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, I would get so close, not because I joined the other side, it's just in case if I need to take a shot, I can't miss. I would always keep them at a distance, see what they really want. I would trade with them with valuable metals to get their technology. I would send the smartest people there to go be educated and to learn their technology. I would do the same thing the Chinese have been doing the last 30, 40 years to the United States. If you have something greater technology, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take that shit back, reverse engineer it, reproduce it, mass produce it, and then learn how to make it cheaper. That's one thing strategically that a lot of black men fail at. Yes, there are sometimes you got to learn from your opposition, if not almost all the time. You need to put yourself in a position where you cannot miss. And that's where black men fail, is that we think that we are around friends all the time. When you're in business, sometimes you got to learn from your opposition. Hint, hint, nod, nod, wink, wink. See, when you take the time to learn from your opposition, especially when your opposition has a superiority in technology, you have to wait and be the humble servant. But you also need to be able to keep a certain distance and shroud from people who are not yours. This is the reason why a lot of the things that's going on with the passport bros is striking a nerve, because we're not even taking the time to sit down and talk anymore. Talk is done. Why do I need to talk to you? You said and you stood on your pillar and post that you don't give a fuck about me. So why should I stay? And do I think that's every black woman? No. There's guys who's married to black women and that's a sweetheart. And that woman takes care of him, the kids, and everything. Keep that woman. She's a good wife. She should get everything that's dear and owed to her. And that woman is an asset and a blessing. But to these other chicks, fuck them. Fuck them. BJ said it best. In the black community, black women don't take you seriously till you're about to leave them. You should always be able to have your bags packed and say, fuck them. Because, like when I had the conversation with Eric, I said, I understand that a lot of brothers thought that Kevin was down talking for black females. He wasn't. He's just talking how black men talk amongst each other. We can't talk nice to somebody who refused to be nice. Talking nice to black women has gotten a shit. Think about it. If talking nice was great, how many of these brothers on child support who don't deserve to be on it are on it? They would never be on it. But once you open up with reality and you just let them know what it is, you know what? I love my people. I love my women. That's why I'm picking women from another country who are black like me. See, the greatest trick that black women in America played, that they had the monopoly on being black. And to really tell you what it is, The reason why they're upset with the passport bros is that we remember the story of the Wizard of Oz. Don't look behind the veil. No, get away from the veil. Don't look behind the curtain. And then you peek behind the curtain and you start looking at, wait a minute, Africa got 54 countries of black people. Brazil has how many black people in it? The Caribbean has how many black people? Latin America has how many black people? Why am I here? Wait a minute. They're still trained to be wives? They respect their men? What the fuck? It's like it's like the parable of Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount with the fish. He spoke to the needs of the body before he spoke to the needs of the soul. If you don't meet the needs of the body first before the soul, the people will not listen. And what happens is that when the needs of that man are being met by a sister from a different culture, that soul is going to start talking. You feel me? That soul is going to start talking. Remember that old saying? Go where you're valued, go where you're appreciated, go where you're loved, go where you're respected. That soul starts talking. You can't blame the brothers. Thank God we got some brothers who got good wives here, but for the rest of them, they got to be like Fible. They got to be on that American tail. They got to go travel. It's not because they're quitters. You can't be a quitting man if you're a traveling man. We got to stop lying to people and saying that the only way you're going to see love is through us. But what you need to really say is that, hey, if I'm not getting what I'm needed, if I'm not being nourished physically, mentally, emotionally, then spiritually, I need to go somewhere the hell else. That's where I disagree with the Hebrew Israelites on. Some of them say whiteness wins out within 4 generations due to race mixing. Hasn't happened yet, and it's been centuries. In fact, we have the number. See, this is what's happening. 50% of European males are sterile. So they're not winning the fight when it comes to reproduction. If you send 50 to 100 black men to Europe, in 50 years, it'll be brown, and in 100 years, it'll be black. See, this is the reason why that eugenics program was started in the first place. If we really wanted to outbreed people, all we had to do is reproduce. They have to kill us. And you got to remember, most of your European countries were ruled by blacks for centuries. Look at Italy. You wonder why they got tans and stuff and they look the way they do. See, the one thing about it is when men went out, there were usually not enough women. Look at China. They're sending their men elsewhere with stipends to go get wives elsewhere. But we're supposed to stay here and get mistreated when we can find love everywhere else. And notice I didn't even have to bring up interracial dating. But you literally have Three mixed chicks, three half black chicks say they can't stand it when a brother is with a white woman, but they're okay with a black woman being with a white man. You can't make this shit up. You truly can't make this shit up. And you expect brothers with the logic, with the intellectual prowess, the physical prowess, and the literal common sense to stay around people who see them as that, children. I'm going to say this before I close, and this goes out to all the black women out there who are single. You're going to have to convince black men. You're going to have to convince them a lot. Because I'm going to tell you something that really holds true. They don't believe you anymore. As a matter of fact, some of them don't even believe in you. You're going to have to come with something better, man. Or you're going to have a lonely time with that house cat and that shih tzu. And I think it's shameful that a lot of you are referring to those as your kids. You're going to have to get fitter. You're going to have to learn you're going to have to learn some wifely skills. You're going to have to learn to appreciate, respect, and love your men. You're going to have to learn how to get a pleasant personality, or else you're going to end up on Skid Row. And it pains me to know that black women and children are becoming the fastest growing demographic of homelessness. That's scary. That is scary. That is horrific. And it's very preventable. Do not let your pride get you hurt or killed, please. That's disturbing. Don't mess up the next 3 generations over pride. Cultivate the men that you will want. Give them the inspiration they need, and they'll give you the purpose that you desire. Whoa! That's my 2 cents for tonight. Hopefully, I can come at you tomorrow or Tuesday. Y'all take care. Have a good night. Thank you for everybody who donated. Thank you for all the viewers. Thank you for all the love. Whew. We're going to do another fire stream. Might even do a panel next time. But guess what? We out.